What's happening, guys? Jay here. Welcome to Omocha Reviews, and today we're going to do the review of the HMM Dibison. Now, before anything else, it's important to note that there are only two model kits of the HMM Dibison under the Kotobukiya HMM line. So the very first one is the Thomas version, where you will get the figures of Thomas Shoebolts over here, but you won't get any water slide decals. That was released years ago. However, last 2020 of July, they released the HMM Dibison Marking Plus, where you will get additional water slide decals as well as some clear transparent parts that you can use to replace the orange ones that come with the Dibison as default. However, you won't get the figures of Thomas Shoebolts anymore in that model kit, hence it's called Marking Plus version, marking meaning water slide decals, and then Thomas version for the other one because you get Thomas Shoebolts figures over here. So, regardless whether you have the Thomas version or the Marking Plus version, it doesn't matter. This is the exact same model kit. The only difference is that, the ones I stated a while ago. Other than that, the plastic quality and also the build, they're the exact same thing. This is not a repackaged version. Alright, now let's begin the review. And the first thing I want to point out is the strongest feature of this model kit, that being its build quality. The Dibison is one of the few model kits out there that you can actually play around with. You can articulate many times. You can handle this without worrying any falling parts coming off. It is that much of a solid kit, and honestly, that's the number one reason why you should get the Dibison. The Dibison is just an engineering marvel because of how solid Kotobukiya built this kit. Compared to the Ligers, compared to the Tyrannosaurus type Zoids, this thing puts them into shame with how solid it is. You can really just play around with this and no falling parts will come off. And a big reason for that is because when you're building a Dibison, you would notice that the Dibison has a lot of solid big parts, big plastic parts. So I'll show you guys some examples right here. As you can see, this gray part right here, that's one big solid part. These black parts right here, so this is one solid part. This is one solid part. And these shoulders right here are just two parts that are sandwiched together. Very, very solid. The hooves are solid. There's really not much to nitpick when it comes to the build quality of the Dibison. Besides the parts being very, very solid and very big, the way you build the Dibison is kind of unique compared to the other model kits. So unlike the Ligers and unlike the T-Rex Zoids, the Dibison almost feels like you're making Lego. So these big parts right here, you're either clamping them together or you're sandwiching them, you're like stacking them up. So in that way, the Dibison's build quality is a lot sturdier because everything is like sandwiched. It's almost like a house, especially the torso. This body right here feels like a very, very solid house. Kind of like, imagine like bricks being stacked up together. That's how I would explain the Dibison's build quality. Now for the articulation of the Dibison, it is quite similar to the Ligers with how it articulates, given that this is a four-legged Zoid. However, there are some new gimmicks here, some cool gimmicks. So the very first one that I'd like to point out are the missile pods right here. So as you can see, there's the closed version, and these are actually, you can actually open them up, which is really, really cool. As you can see right there. Just use your tweezers and you can open them up like that. So you can show the missile pods. Of course, you can paint those guys with color red or whatever you want. But yeah, point being, they're very cool. And you can also rotate this a bit like that. Very, very nice. Now, the horns of the Dibison can be moved as well. And these are very big horns, as you can see. Very big and very pointy. They're very diabolic almost. Kind of different from what we saw in the anime. Because mostly these a big reason for it is that these horns are curved, so they kind of give this demonic look to the Dibison. And then there's the cockpit of the Dibison. As you can see, there's the orange clear part, and then there's the figure of Thomas Shoebolts over there. Now also you have some fangs here. You've got some color separation for the teeth, very nice. And then you've got that little tongue there that also acts as a missile pod for the Dibison that you can move a bit like that. Very, very nice. For the legs, so the legs have some movement a bit. There's a ball joint here, very typical of Kotobukiya Zoids kits. You can't move the shoulders, but you can move these joints a bit like that. You can't move the hooves, so no movement there, but you can move the legs right here. You can extend the hind legs a bit more compared to the other ones, as you can see like that. Just give it a little tall, give it some height. when you're articulating it. So very, very cool. What else? So of course, how can I forget the weapon system, the mounted cannons right here. As you can see, these guys articulate separately, the ones in front. So these are 9 cannons right there. You can articulate that, and you can imitate the Megalomax action in Chaotic Century. Very cool. And however, the side cannons over here, they don't articulate separately. They articulate, or no, actually they do. I actually thought they didn't. But yeah, they do. So as you can see, I thought they articulated as a set, but you know, they don't. So you can articulate them individually as well, like that. Very, very nice. What else? Going to the torso, you can move this a bit. So there's a sort of a peg there that you can move the D-Bison a bit, like that. Also, before I forget, the head can actually be moved also. There's a sort of ball joint there, as you can see. There's some motions right there. You can move it sideways, up and down, not so much, but yeah, you can move them sideways like that. And then other than that, you also have these guns right here that can move like that. They're individually made, and you just attach them like that. And then the tail of the D-Bison is also a gun. You can move it up and down, but you can't move it sideways. So yeah, that's basically the gist of the D-Bison's articulation. Now, there's just one issue I have, actually, or 2 issues I have with the D-Bison in terms of articulation, and it's this one right here. So this is supposed to be the door that opens, and so you can access the weapon control system of the weapon system. Yeah, you should be able to open this. However, you can't, because this plastic right here is blocking it. So by itself like this, you can't open this part right here, and you have to remove the weapon system altogether if you want to open it, which is really a bummer. So the way to open it is to just take out these guys right here, as you can see. Take that out, and then take this out. So these are sort of locks, as you can see right there, and you just kind of remove the weapon system like that. See, there's a giant peg over there, as you can see, where you attach the weapon system. So this is the weapon system. As you can see, it's built separately compared to the with the D-Bison. And then there's also these parts right here that you can extend out. So these parts are sort of like stands, I suppose. So you can stand the weapon system like that. Kind of silly if you're gonna put a D-Bison like this, but yeah, there's that purpose right there. And you just fold that in. Now here's the one I'm telling you guys about. So as you can see, this is a door that opens up like that. And if you saw this, as you can see, this is one of the few problems with the D-Bison also. So this clear part here goes like that, but it's not secured, it falls off. So I temporarily put some tape here just for the review, because I actually plan to paint this before I glue it. So I haven't glued it yet because I plan to paint it. However, it is recommended that you glue this over here, because at least for me, this part keeps falling off, this clear part right here. But yeah, here's the weapon system. So as you can see, there's I don't know if you guys can see that, there's a seat over here. Let me just focus my camera. Yeah, there we go. As you can see, there's a seat here for an additional pilot, because this is supposed to act as a sort of a weapons control system that another person mans. So as you can see there, you just insert a pilot figure there, and then there's the sort of lock. And then over here, I'm not sure what this is for, but yeah, you get this sort of antenna over here that you attach through that peg there, like that, and then you just close this, and that thing protrudes out. So yeah, overall it's a very cool gimmick. Unfortunately, yeah, it doesn't open when you attach it to the D-Bison because of this part blocking the way. So unfortunate. Now, one of the last few weaknesses, in my opinion, for the HMM D-Bison is the color injection that they gave to the horns and to the hooves. So, as you can see right here, I have the Shadow Fox HMM, and I just want you guys to look at the color injection that Kotobukiya gave to the claws, the fangs, and the Gatling gun. I mean, look at the color here that they gave to the Shadow Fox. It looks absolutely stunning and top-notch because of the shiny metallic finish that they gave it. Imagine if they gave the same kind of treatment to the horns and to the hooves of the HMM Dibison. So look at the horns here, the hooves, they look really dull, and in my opinion they play a big role as to why the Dibison doesn't really pop out much in your collection. The parts that I've mentioned can really benefit from a good painting, from a good paint job, but unfortunately, you know, not every Zoids collector or model kit builder is into painting. So especially that this thing is over $100, it's a shame that they couldn't give the same treatment that they gave to the Shadow Fox HMM. Alright, now to end the review, so here is some size comparisons with the other HMM model kit. So as you can see, this is the Geno Breaker repackage, and as you can see, it is a lot smaller compared to the Geno Breaker repackage. The Dibison is actually quite the same size as a Liger. So as you can see right here, the Geno Breaker kinda towers it a bit like that. Still, the Dibison is very large in terms of bulk. It is a very solid Dibison model kit, as you can see right there, very stocky. But the Geno Breaker is just has a lot more plastic parts to it. Lastly, there's the Blade Liger AB. So as you can see, the Blade Liger and the Dibison almost have the same size. The Blade Liger looks a little taller, mostly because of its attack boosters over there, but otherwise they're right off the same scale. Which is quite a bummer, actually. That's one of the weaknesses, I suppose, of the Dibison as well. It could have been a lot bigger, in my opinion. I mean, it is a bison, and a bison in real life is very, very big. So the fact that the Blade Liger looks almost kind of bigger compared to the Dibison is kind of a bummer. So that's one of the few weaknesses that you can actually point out when it comes to this model kit. It could have been bigger. As you can see, the Blade Liger has a lot more bulk compared to the Dibison, and because of the attack boosters, it looks a lot taller compared to the Dibison. Anyway, that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll be making more Zoids content in the near future, so stick around and subscribe to Omocha Reviews. That's it for today, guys. Again, thank you very much, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.